Hello and welcome. This is Amanda the Nerdy Krafter, and for Make It Simple Monday, this is a challenge by Debbie in the Art Impressions Way group. She came up with this idea to pull out some of our stamp sets and show how easy it could be to use them, especially for those ones that we've had in there for a long time and we haven't used in a long while. I think all but one of these sets I have never touched before, so I am challenging myself to pull some of mine that I've never used before out and try to use these beautiful stamp sets that I've gotten from Art Impressions. So I'm going to show you all the different ones I have, and then I'm torn between two of them. So we've got a few weeks in February, so I'll do a different one for every Monday, or I may do the same one a couple different ways. So we have this gorgeous little exclusive one that was in 2022. Just a beautiful little stamp set that will be just great for just a little vignette. Here is a watercolor throwback from March of 2025. This one has some little birds, some little mailboxes. This would be great for, this one kind of has an Easter theme to it, but a Valentine's theme, these little books, and all these cute little mailers that came with it. So this one is a little bit of a bigger scene. I like doing both, so we may pull in one of the bigger scenes. This is probably the largest one that I have, and this is a throwback, a special edition actually. So this one, Stamps and Dies, has a large mailbox set with just a lot of different accessories that can be added into it with a bunch. I may not dig into this because this is a little more detailed and it is all about making it simple, but I did want to show you this is an option also. Then I have this throwback from July of 2025, and this one just tickles me so much. I love this set, and I may be bringing this back. I kind of put my throwbacks away because I'm like, oh, I don't want to tempt anybody if they didn't have a chance to get it, but so many of us did and never pull them out and use them. So I want to challenge you to pull out some of your throwbacks and use them. But this one right here is so adorable, and these kitties in this basket, it is just too cute. So I'm going to be using this set at least once this this month. So I'm so excited about that. The other one we have here is the original one, the mailbox, the flowering mailbox. I have used this a number of times. I think I've even taught a class using this. So if I can find my sketches that I did with this one, I will pull it out and put some pictures in the group also so you can see that. But since I've done this one before, I don't know. What do we think? I'm really torn. I love this one, but this one is totally speaking to me. So maybe I'll just split between these two for the month, and maybe throw in one of these. So I'm not sure yet, but let's go ahead. And I think I'm going to have to start with this one. As you know, I tried to do these live with you. This package has never been opened before. I've never used it before. I want you to see how easy it is to pull out a set you've never touched before and just embrace it. Just use it. Don't be afraid of it. That's why we buy these sets. That's why we've invested all this money in these collections, is because we really, really love them and we want to use them. So we need to stop being afraid of them and start pulling them out and using them. That is a challenge. And we're doing this quick, simple, and easy. Trying not to add in too much extras to it. I am doing what's called an artist trading card, ATC card. So that is a baseball size card. So it's 2.5 by 3.5 are the dimensions on it. And I love this image size because it is so accessible. I'm just going to use my grid on my stamp platform here to line that up. So for the box, I want the box to be kind of the grayscale. So I'm going to pull out, I want the 565, not the 555, 565, and the 969 for that. And for my little critter, I'm going to use a combination of the 947 and the 969 for him. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. So I like more of, maybe I'll do the base here in wood. So that is blue first. So let's do this together. So blue first. So this is all where the wood's at. And because I have that taped down. Let me just grab another piece of watercolor paper here. And for the mailbox, I want it to be more on a grayscale. So I'm going to do the brown first on this. Okay, so first time, stamp it off. Oops, I didn't stamp that off very well. There we go. And then go over it the second time. So for the wood, the second time is going to be the brown. And I'm going to go over the critters just one more time, make sure I've got the critters really nice. Our little squirrels. And then the mailbox and the mail, I want to be more that grayscale. So I'm going over that with the 565. And is there any peek through? Just a little bit under the undercarriage there. So, okay. So let's stamp this off one more time. Beautiful. I'm going to bring back in, just in case I've stamped it more than once, I'm going to make sure that's nice and lined up there. And I bring in a stamp press. I am not pressing hard. My goal is just to get an overall nice press on it. I don't want to press hard, but I do want a nice clean image there. And that looks fabulous for me. Okay. So, like always, the very first thing we want to do is pull out the color from the lines. So I'm just going to come in and pull out the colors. I'm doing each section separately. Make sure I got that. Because I have stamped this off twice, there may not be a whole lot of color coming out, which is just fine. I do each section separate, so I'm not commingling my colors, I'm not crossing my lines. Okay, I'm going to clean my brush real quick since I'm changing to the brown area. So this is more wood grain area. I'm just going right next to that line and just kissing it. And now onto our little squirrels. Do want to leave most of the face white. I do like to reference back to the packaging also, because Bonnie does watercolor the packaging, so she kind of gives us some ideas of where the darker areas are, where the lighter areas are. So if you're not good with light sourcing, or you just don't want to concentrate that hard on finding the light source, please use the packaging. The packaging is there as a tool for you. So she does where the darker areas are, where to add some little pink to the cheeks and stuff. So she does a lot of that work for you. So let her do the work. We do not need to recreate the wheel. I'm going to bring in the 947, the 969. And this is going to be for my wood areas and for my squirrels. So for the wood area, I'm just going to drag in some wood texture. So this is more of a dry brush here. So you can see I get a little bit of grain in there. Mixing the two colors. And I'm going to bring in some foliage later, so I don't have to cover everything. but I like when I get a little bit more texture in there. That's definitely a more dry brush to bring that in. Now for the tail, she left some white in here, so I'm just going to tap in some color. Similar to the padding technique that we do with flowers. Does anybody else find when they watercolor that they kind of stick out their tongue when they're trying to concentrate? I'm so glad that you can't see my face when I watercolor, because I'm like, I go so deep into concentration and I kind of like stick out my tongue a little bit, and it's awesome. I just love these little squirrels. They are so stinking cute. I love mixing up my colors just a little bit. Okay, now with this one, because we do have the little critter's eyes in here, I do want to come in and darken those eyes up. His nose and his mouth here. And then you can always come in, kind of darken up any areas that we've lost some details on. Their little feeties. I don't want to ever redraw all of the lines. I just kind of give it the hint. Watercoloring is all about the hint and the illusions that we have. So you don't have to recreate the wheels here, which I absolutely love. And I've got 743 here. And I did a horrible job of writing that out. But I just don't need a lot of it, so I don't want to. This one I'm going to really pinch that water off. I do not want a lot of water here. Little in his ear that you can see. And just give him a little bit of a rosy cheek there. Okay, perfect. That's all that needed. So now, since we are actually 7:43, since we are in the Valentine theme here, I think I'm going to go ahead and do one of these envelopes in pink. Maybe every other one. Let's do every other one. So that one, and this front one here. Super cute. And then maybe let's do this lavender one. 685. This is a pinky purple. We can do those. For the other ones. And then let's just add some dimension to this, maybe some straight lines. And then let's see if I can add some polka dots. Thinking about doing a heart on here. And then I want to add a little bit more of the gray in. So I've got the 969 here. And I'm going to bring in the 565 and blend those together. And that makes up that beautiful gray that we stamp onto. I think that needs a little bit more of the blue. There we go. Now I'm seeing a little bit more of that gray. I'm going to pinch that off so I don't have as much on there. And then I just want to darken in some of these darker areas here. A little bit where the shadow is going to be coming down. Darken up in here. Even over some of my wood areas where it's going to be darker, where shadows are going to hit, I can bring in a little bit of the gray to mix that in. Where my little critters are sitting, I'm going to have some shadows here where they're sitting. So I tend to bring my shadows down. And then I push them back. So just a clean brush, and I'm just pushing those shadows back. It's the reason why I like to kind of flick in my color a little bit, because it lets me push those colors back a lot easier. Clean brush again. And these colors will dry back a little bit more. Okay, so if I can find my blue twin tone. I always saw Bonnie come in with the twin tones and I'm like, oh, they're not going to make that much of a difference. I'm so afraid I'm going to mess the project up. It's okay. It's just paper. It's all fixable. It's not the end of the world. But it just, the little definition that bringing it in adds to your project is so, so worth it. It just really makes your project pop. Okay, so I'm feeling good about that. I want to bring in some of these little grasses that we have here too. I think I'm going to bring in more of the brown for the grasses. And I'm going to do a combination of the 947 and the 949. And I'm kind of channeling that because the East Coast got hit really hard a couple weeks ago with some snow. And just not a lot of stuff is growing right now. So I do live in Arizona. We have been chilly for Arizona, but gorgeous this summer. So I have nothing to complain about. Beautiful. I just buried my brush. So with these, there's not a whole lot of work to do. I'm just going to tap them down just a little bit. Kind of where those little buds are at the top. I do want to give it some ground to sit on. Don't want any of this floating out in outer space. And then, because I do have an opening there, let me bring in one of my vines. And this is my original floral set or foliage side. Sorry, not floral, foliage. Well, let's bring in a little bit of green with this. So 177. I'm only going to hit the tip of it. The vines are climbing up there. Let's put a little bit down at the base. Make sure they're coming from somewhere. And then just tap those in. Beautiful. And then let's go ahead and add some sky in. 526. 565. My two favorite sky colors. And I'm just going to tap in some water to start with. So I like more of a wet on wet for doing my sky. I find that I have more control over it, where those colors go, and it does dry back a lot more. So you can do wet on wet, you can do the dry. I do like to bring in a little bit of the darker blue for kind of some of the shadow areas. The sun's going to be on top, so I only usually bring the darker in the more shaded areas or at the bottom of my clouds. It's personal preference. Remember, this does dry back, so if you come and look at it tomorrow, it will be very different than it is today. You're like, is this the same piece? It is. It just dries back. The nice part is also, I can always add more. So if I look at it tomorrow and I'm like, oh, that dried back way too much, I can always come back in and watercolor and add a little bit more to it. Beautiful. Then I'm going to come in. So I'm going to start off the month. Oops, my glue just fallen. Just making these little ATC cards here, and then I will at some point turn them into cards throughout the month. So to start, we will just simply have a small little vignette here. And then we will grow and see what else the month has for us. That blender is not doing what I want. There we go. I have a flat blender versus a dome blender, and I'm thinking I like the dome blender a little bit better. Okay, so let's take 2 seconds and clean up. Put the lid back on our water so we don't make a mess. Like that. That is why we put the lid on things. Because Amanda likes to throw things across her work surface. I know that's shocking. Absolutely shocking. Okay. So now we've got all of this put away. We've got this gorgeous little vignette here. And I'm just going to bring in a piece of black paper, because I do like to back this with something, because that just helps it to pop. Now, isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Well, thank you so much for following along. This is the first week of Make It Simple Mondays for the Art Impressions Way group. If you've thought about joining us, please do grab out those mailboxes or anything. Last month we did the small containers. If you want to catch up and do some of those with us, do those with us. So just follow along, join in, see how much fun this is for you. This took just a few minutes to put this together. You can do it too. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.